saw it the other day. Excalibur went straight for a Radiance. He didn't bother stopping off at the Midas. Picked up the normal in-between items, boots, and all those good shenanigans, but it was pretty neat. I liked it because they got involved really early. It was against 3 Midases, though, so that part might have had part of to do with why it was happening. But yeah, kind of interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think Longdroid's an interesting hero at the moment, because I think the ranged build is actually viable. It's just how you play the hero, I suppose. It takes a lot longer for the ranged build to actually be good, whereas if you just get a Radiance, like you said, the bears immediately value. And if you get it like 15 minutes, killing 3,000 health bear is not fun.
I imagine it also has to do with the comfort of the player playing the hero as well. If you got a guy that's really great at micro and controlling each of them individually, then you're probably going to want to go for a more bear-oriented build. But I guess there's merit to both of them. I just like that it's possible to play it in these different ways. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, flexibility is an extremely important part of the game, which is why you see heroes like Slardar, etc. so high priority. Not just because they're amazing heroes, but you have ways of running them in different ways.
Absolutely.
And it just opens your draft up.
Well, that is some aggression if I ever saw it. Darkseer and Slardar. Whenever I see these two, I imagine they're laning together, but we have seen some changes recently where Darkseer's gotten some... I mean, he was doing it before well, but taking some jungle stacks for himself and running off that direction. Do you think that's what we would see, or do you think that friends are more interested in getting aggressive early with that Ion Shell crush down bottom?
With the Oracle, I think it'll be slightly less aggressive and more farm-based. But the joy with these heroes is if one of them's either ganking or farming, the other hero can soak up golden experience in the lane, which means there's always a resource being used if they're not dead. So there's a lot of it just feels good to have these two heroes, and then you have an insane team fight with both of them. If you can ever combo the back stun, then you're getting 2, probably 3 heroes consistently, and then they have Timbersaw nukes to couple that.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, I want to see how it works out. It's definitely a lot of damage to throw out there. The other thing that I'll mention real quickly, if anybody hasn't seen it, is Rubik pulling the Ancient Camp through the mid lane. Is something that we've seen broken. That Friends, I think they attempted it yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, in their match, but they weren't able to get it completely right on the money. If I'm not mistaken, it could have been the other match that I was thinking of, but I think it was in the Friends game where they couldn't quite connect it. So kind of an interesting little dynamic there as well. We'll see if that's something that plays into this later.
Yeah, I remember casting a game with that, and yeah. Anyone who does that, you can understand they're doing it to win the game, but it's just that is not something that should be in Dota. It completely destroys the game, and yeah,
not your favorite.
Because your counter to it is so stupid. Walking into their ancient camp and trying to CS creeps and putting yourself in a dumb position, or you just lose an entire wave at minute 1.
Well, not to mention that you're also going to be looking at an off lane of Slardar and Darkseer, who can do a lot of damage if somebody goes out of position. So it's not just that you're putting yourself in a precarious position, but Friends have built a lineup that allows them to capitalize on that as well, with Timbersaw being the one who's going to be going mid, I'm assuming, at this point in time. Necro banned out. What are you thinking for Horde? What do they need?
I'd say all the obvious heroes are gone, but alright, so this is actually the same situation where I was casting the game, and I justified the ancient pulling by saying the other team had a Huskar. So now I can justify it, because I hate Huskar with a passion. But what the hero does here is it fits into how they want to play the game.
Well, we'll see.
They want this group up and kind of end the game around 15 to 30 minutes, depending how strong they are. And then they've also got the Oracle to combo with it, so let the cancer begin, boys.
I'm excited. We got ourselves Oracle Huskar. Just when you thought you were out, they pull you back in. I mean, if you look at it, it's basically just all built around that Huskar with Lone Druid there to maybe push out lanes at various points if he gets the Radiance up online and also hit towers later on. But every hero in this Horde lineup complements the Huskar or the Lone Druid. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Do you think that Friends have the damage to deal with one of those heroes getting out of control? Like, Timbersaw's pretty good, right?
Yes and no. It's like very timing based. When Horde get to the point where they were last game, where they like got their first run of items and they grouped up and started hitting towers, they're going to be really hard to fight into. So Friends have to play the game in a way that either destroys them in the laning stage, which is definitely doable. It's not easy because of Iron Shell being the way you do that, and Oracle being a very counter to it, but you can still play around it. And then you can also like do the thing, etc. But their job is basically never let them get to a point where they can 5-man, pick them off, push in lanes, which they have good heroes that do. Slack and Timber are very mobile cores that can push in lanes fairly safely in a lot of cases, and then Iron Shell is the safest way to push in any lane ever. So they definitely have the way of doing it. And then if ever they get to a point where Horde are, okay, we're just going to 5-man. We have to take whatever trade we're getting, but we're going to 5-man. Then they still have to play into this somewhat big teamfight element of the vacuum, Timber combo, etc. And then if Rubik steals, like, and there actually isn't any big AoE spells to steal this game. I suppose like Savage Roar would be the most annoying one, but still.
I mean, stealing Bear is not terrible, right? It's kind of okay. It, like, at least in the early game, it's fantastic. Later on, when you don't have any items on it, it's not amazing. Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't think I've ever stolen Bear, but yeah, it's a warding tool if you steal it. It's a very tanky warding tool.
Ooh, and a little bit of shenanigans going on as an early smoke is going to come out. No Fear and Big Gnome hanging out in this bottom lane. They want to get aggressive, but realizing that there could be that potential. It looks like Horde is going to send the Huskar to the top lane, and it's going to leave Beastmaster all by his lonesome. And that feels like it could be first blood.
Smart, boys. It could be, but I think Friends will not want this lane matchup because their Slack is a very pivotal hero to their draft, and he doesn't deal with early pressure very well. And he's going to see the lane matchup now and be like, team, please help. And if they don't get this kill bottom, then which they're not going to get because where the lane's positioned, this is going to really hurt Friends, and Horde are going to get off to a good start. And you see they're immediately TPing, but their tri-lane does not much well against Horde's tri-lane.
Yeah, and this also means that they're not going to get the pull in the mid lane either, so... I mean, not that that's integral to their strategy, but it was something that could have been good.
Yeah. Like, playing a melee core in a tri-lane is just so annoying. They got the best hero, like, Oracle got so far out of position, and now he's dead.
First blood, turn it back around, though. Bignum is going to die to the Huskar, and it looks like that is about to be it. But, I mean, with an Ogre in lane as well as a Huskar, it feels like it's going to be a tough one indeed.
Yeah, the fact they got that is... it's really nice for them, because that's something you wouldn't expect, I think. If Pablo's in good position like he is at the moment, then he doesn't die. And you have to go on the other two heroes that are just, like, too tanky and too much turn potential. Whereas now they kill the hero, they push the lane out, they get a pull, so Slack's going to get some CS under the tower, and he can play the lane a bit easier now.
Well, and the other nice thing about this, I kind of like this lane. It feels like for Afterlife is going to be pretty easy. Does Beastmaster have to worry about getting dove at a certain point?
There's not the most kill potential for Darkseer, but what there is the ability to push this wave in and constantly farm like these two camps. To the side, he will get way more out of the lane overall.
Okay. Well, and meanwhile, mid lane, Yoku is just having to deal with an Excalibur Lone Druid. We talked about this earlier and how effective it could be. With No Fear rotating in here, she's going to place a ward, I assume. Is there any chance that they could kill off Lone Druid? Is that a bit too tough?
I think they need like an Iron Shell Slider to kill him. and him to probably not have used his Roar yet, because that spell's just too good at getting heroes on top of you, not on top of you anymore. So he should have a pretty good lane. Like, I imagine Timbersaw trades like 60-40 in Lone Druid's favor, and he gets like a good enough lane. Excalibur will be happy with this, and then Horde should be content with their top lane. It's in like a perfect position now where the Slark can't contest any CS. Beastmaster's just CSing under the tower bottom, so he shouldn't miss many, especially with an Iron Tower, and it's all going well for them.
Alright.
It's kind of up to friends to do something.
I like
with their two roaming
these
supports.
plays that they're making too. I mean, Excalibur sending back the bear, it's going to heal back up and can keep the pressure on Yoku consistently. And meanwhile, top lane, you look at the way that this is working out, and they can try and get the pulls going, but it just ends up being a single pull, and they're going to be constantly harassed here. The pull back in onto Ake, but the tower is not hitting them, and maybe a crush follow-up can do something, but they're getting ready to just keep the pressure on. Aloha Dance is in a lot of trouble. Still taking the Burning Spears damage, does have a salve, and is going to be forced to use it in a second. That's about it for regen. They have 2 tangos between the 3 of them.
Yep, life is, and now Ogre's pulling the wave as well, so they can get dove really easily. And they're going to deny this CS as much as they can, and then they're going to have lane control if they want it. Like, Ake can just tank the creeps, pull them here, and Slark's life becomes a living nightmare.
Nobody else has TPs on the rest of the team either, so no help can really come. And I'm looking at the rest of the side of Horde. They've still got a salve, 5 tangos, and an ogre, not to mention the fact that they can just hop over to the shrine afterwards and fill up if they need to. I mean, can friends really, what do they need to do to switch this up? Is there anything they can really do?
I think the best plan is to make something happen in the other lanes if possible, because Slark is not the worst comeback hero if you can give him a bit of room. But right now, like, the thing that's suffering the most is definitely like the Slider and the Rubik not achieving anything. The Rubik doesn't even have boots, you know?
Well, it looks like they're going to take your advice, and they are going to bring Bignum in here. This does still feel like it's a possible kill, but not an easy one by any means.
Yeah, they have to just like play this game really well to not get cheesed. And I actually do think Excalibur's going for the ranged build, because you normally don't buy Aquila if you go for the... You normally just buy Bassi at most.
Right.
I could be wrong though. I would like to see it, because I think it's a little less all-in with the push. It helps them scale better.
Well, this might be the moment that they're waiting for, the sprint forward, and they're also going to bring in a couple of TPs here. Not quite in the best of positions, but, well, the Crush is going to find Pablo at the very least. Roar turnaround, Afterlife in some trouble, and God, from bad to worse. Ake trying to get the body blocks, ends up finding Bignum. Oh, good play right there as well. He is still going to get out, but I don't think he's long for this world. Pablo with the double kill. And everybody made plays right there, and it just goes to show how much more these supports can get done in this early stage.
Yeah, and they don't even get the luxury of punishing the Huskar, who's just happily free farming while his 2 supports TP'd away, and there's no counterplay on him. He's under the tower pressuring Slack, he's not scared at all. And now they just shrine up, and...
Oh, Warwick.
Right.
He's gonna get ran at, but he is still a Huskar. It seems like it might be a bit tough. Well, okay, no, they're just gonna find the kill.
Iron Shell.
Dire's bottom
Okay, so
tower is
that's
under
at
attack.
least a good trade. It wasn't an immediate response, but it did end up happening.
And Yoku rooted in the middle lane is starting to get ran down. Fairy Fire's there, but he's still Timber Song. Guess what? He's got a regen rune as well, so easy peasy for that guy.
Yep. One tanky mofo. Also one pretty farmed hero, but... And if you look at the net worth, Slark's actually like even with the Huskar after that death, and things don't look anywhere near as bad as the lanes might lead you to believe.
Yeah. I mean, there's...
It's just the Horde really don't mind if their almost even because all their heroes do way more with way less.
TP cancel.
At least their cores.
I'm also looking at this, and it looks like the sort of support team from Hell is coming back up top to try and mess with the Aloha Dance. Pablo, if they decide to head off into the woods here, Aloha Dance is stuck. There's nowhere he can really go. But maybe in the jungle right now, they're going to be able to find something. Excalibur is here. No Fear as well as Big Gnome. Scouting it out and wanting to find this kill. They're waiting for the rest of their buddies to pop in, but just like that, not able to find him.
And he doesn't even have Roy yet, so he's playing like super ballsy and just having a good read on the map. Allows him to survive.
Afterlife? Horde has whirling axes. He's going to drop. They find another kill, missing the crush. Big Gnome also in some trouble. Man, there has been a collection of plays this game.
It doesn't look like Friends are running as crisply as they were game 1. And I think a degree of that is, if I know they need to put pressure, they're probably saying something along the lines of, we need to do something. Because otherwise this Huskar's going to get armlet, this Lone Druid's going to get whatever item he wants. Mostly just levels, actually. And then they're going to run at us. And what do we do to stop that? Well, we smoke with Iron Shell, and we go to the Huskar, and we try and impale him.
That's going to be a nice catch.
They're gonna do.
They've got him out here. Pablo is still in the area. No level 6 as of yet, so he is going to be forced to TP away. Can they break it out? Vacuum! Oh! A little bit off the mark there. Would have been a nice one to pick up.
And now you see like the immediate response from Horde is E-Skills pushes bottom, Excalibur comes out the jungle, and pushes the mid lane into the tower because they saw 5 heroes top. And yes, it's really, really good they got the Huskar, but he bought his armlet before he died. He still got a bit of money, and now they're in this position where Slack has a TP, no one else does. So this tier 2 tower, it's gonna lose like half its life. And that is not a worthwhile trade if you just look at straight up.
And he can just stay here, and happy as can be. Meanwhile, over to the other side though, Huskar got pretty far forward there. Yoku wants to get aggressive, does still have a rune, and is going to be able to chase this armlet toggling, trying to stay alive, and does bring it through. Oh, he might have overstepped his bounds a little bit though, and is going to take some burning spears to the face. He's got 5 stacks on him. He needs to pop it and start bottling. Looks like he'll be able to survive. That was pretty close.
Yeah, it's a very volatile matchup. Like, if he overcommits and doesn't kill, magic damage is the best way at dealing with Timber, and Huskar does a lot. He's only level 6 at the moment though, so he doesn't have the full levels. It looks like Excalibur is going Radiance now. It's on his quick buy, so...
And this was what he did. He got it at a decent time
builder
recently in that other game that we were watching, and then they basically... They didn't use it as much as a farming item, but they might now, since it's, you know, the Midas that's the option they decided to go for earlier. Maybe they'd go for more farming into the late game, or do you think that it's just get the first set of items and then build around Huskar just dominating?
Pretty much that. Like, the Lone Druid going Midas just... It pushes back their window a tiny bit, but their window wasn't like that strong at this point anyway, because they still need a few levels and just a few like small items. The real strength of their draft comes when Huskar gets like a second or third item, depending how small they are, and then like Radiance comes out. Because right now what they're doing is they're applying a lot of pressure in different lanes, and they're still winning the farm war. And because they've got the Beastmaster Hawk, they're able to do these moves quite safely. And just look how easy it is to counterplay them.
Big them. Pretty quick and easy.
Helm of the Dominator on Beastmaster is like scary stuff.
Yeah, because now he's got
really,
the bonus
scary.
Skeletons as well for added pushing power. Granted, somebody's going to be able to come in this, but he can also get like 2 different sets of disables now. I feel like that Dark Troll Summoner is really underrated.
Yep. Any like ranged control creep, purge creep, troll creep, They give so much value in these engagements.
Ooh. Yoku.
And it's just like the auras as well.
He's got himself an invis rune here, but it doesn't look like he wants to do it. Realizing that the rest of the enemy team might be in the area, but if they set up here, this could be really big. If invis is wearing off, it's do or die at this point. He needs to get out of there, it looks like. Yeah, and he will.
And this is a point in the game where if they lose these fights, it's by no means over, but it becomes a very, very steep hill very quickly. If they win these fights, then the game completely turns in their favor. And what they're doing right now is just stalling as much as possible while they give room to their Slack.
God, but he's still so far off his Shadow Blade, and I mean, you look at this, they bring the bear back in, they still have a resummon as well. This is even before Radiance is online. It does feel right now that Friends do not expect them to go high ground, or potentially they're ready for it and are just trying to push out the lanes to make sure it doesn't happen too much. But Roar, top lane, Aloha Dance! They end up taking down the Slark, and everything going wrong at this point.
Yeah, Horde just like getting so much of the better end of this game. Like, he solo killed a Flash. He's massive. That's not something that happens in normal circumstances.
No fear?
It's just because they're under like so much pressure to get things
Yoku,
done.
they're gonna get out of there again, but God, this is just there's not a whole lot else to say about it. It's a spanking.
It's a typical Huskar draft when it works.
Well, this might be what they're looking for to get themselves out of it. They don't connect onto the pounce. They do finally catch him now. This might be able to be enough to kill off that Huskar. They drop the wall as well, and they manage to take him down, as well as the Oracle who bought back. Pablo a little bit quick on the trigger there.
Yep, that is like step one. Catch them when they're retreating. They end up getting like 2,000 gold swing out of that, which is huge for them. It's not quite on the right heroes though. Like Daxter is just about to finish his mech, he's got it in the stash. Slad has 800 from a blink, which is like, I'd say their next biggest item overall. They Slack having a Shadow Blade is nice, but they don't have ways of like taking initiation when Horde split up or give them a good chance. They're in a bad spot. And the second they see a Shadow Blade, they're just gonna push with sentries. So, or Necrobook, you know, when that is level 3.
It is brought out right now, and it looks like it's time to take Roshan instead. So, vision-wise, I believe that Friends do realize this is happening. They see everybody moving towards the Roche pit. Whether or not they can do something about it is kind of a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do that. They have no wall, they have like no mana on their slider either, and their trade is just farm. They weren't even in a good position to threaten towers.
I will say that it still feels like there's going to come this point in time where the team fight of Friends is going to be able to beat out what Horde is throwing at them pretty consistently. Maybe like 1 or 2 team fights away, if they were able to win them.
It's like Aegis kind of like nullifies the team fight advantage. And also like with how big they are right now, they just need to wait 800 gold, and then Lone Druid's gonna have his Radiance, and then he can just send the bear and it's gonna cancel things. Darkseid can run in, but he's just gonna get rolled.
Oh god, Bignum.
Like,
there's the mechanism, vacuum onto 1. I mean, he got a crush off, but man, it is ugly.
Like for them to win a team fight, they need like 5-man crush into timber spells. And if they don't get that, then they can't win a team fight.
Alright.
And that's a lot to ask, by the way, you know, like it's a level 4 back, so it's most likely gonna happen if it is gonna happen now, but like Darkseid doesn't have a blink, so
Ooh.
their best way of taking engagements is when like they split up and this happens.
Pablo is there. They're gonna control up the Timber Saw, keep him from going too much further, but Ake has Bloodlust on himself and he's fine. The rest of the team is not here. They're all just trying to punch a Wildling Ripper.
no blink on the right heroes, so... As nice as that would have been when they can catch Horde with no Radiance, no Beastmaster, which is huge at this stage of the game because he has Necrobook. Free, which is insane timing.
Radiant's bottom tower
And now
is
Radiance
under
is
attack.
up, and I think the second they feel like putting their foot on the gas, they can just go down a lane, A-click a building, and see what happens.
It also feels to me that if there was at certain points maybe friends putting a little bit more emphasis on like trying to pressure a tower or something, you actually get to a state where you would probably have these blink daggers online at this point. But as it stands, this tier 1 tower has been at such low HP this entire time, and they just haven't been able to finish it off. Same with the mid tower, and you think about those two being done, suddenly you would have a blink dagger on Slardar and probably the Darkseer as well, and that completely changes the complexion of this game. As it stands now, I don't know how they hold their high ground. They're so close, but so far away at the same time.
TP back, sell Soul Ring, buy Blink, hope to God you can defend with Shrines.
Radiant's
They
middle
have
tower
one
is under
available
attack.
and the other one's cooling down in 30 seconds in the bottom lane, so... It is somewhat feasible that they can defend. Yeah, Darkseid does exactly what I said, sells his Soul Ring, he has Blink now.
As the
Rubik stealing the regen as well, it's kind of nice for the Timber to go in the front, and now they can start to mess
This
up
is
his
gonna
arm.
be a kill. Oh, save back with the vacuum wall, crashes the frame rate, but also doing a ton of damage to Horde. I think it might be enough as they are gonna be able to at least break through the Aegis, trying to take some more. Yoku is gonna go down though. Excalibur so freaking low and trying to catch up to him. Oh, he wants to so badly, but Excalibur just gonna run away. They are gonna be able to catch and control that Huskar. That vacuum wall was super solid, and they might even be able to kill off Ake as well. I don't think that they get Excalibur. He does get the TP out. But that was everything that Friends needed and more. Beautiful play from Afterlife.
Horde just were really not set up for that to happen. They clumped like hell, and they paid the price.
Radiant's bottom
They definitely
tower
didn't
is
expect
under
the
attack.
double blink, though.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Absolutely.
They probably thought they were at a timing where
Radiant's
they
bottom
played
tower
just
is
into
fortified.
that window, where they didn't quite have blink yet, and they were pushing with all their items. And now the game opens up like so much because there's no racks down, Aegis is gone, and Horde's ability to catch the cores on Friends only gets harder as they get more items.
One other thing I got to point out in that fight that I didn't mention was No Fear. As soon as that crush went out, he went for the lift, and then he was able to get another like 4-person stun with the drop stun coming out from the Rubik. So telekinesis stun on top of it, 1.5 seconds, and then you also had the 2.5 second stun that was coming out from Slardar, which was why they just stood there for so long. At first I thought the game was literally crashing, but it was just, they were stunned there for an incredibly long time, and Timbersaw could do everything that he wanted to.
Yep, same thing with Spark, and when you have 5 illusions, 1 or 2 iron shells, game doesn't look so hard anymore.
Definitely.
And this is kind of where the game completely turns for most of these kind of quote-unquote all-in push strats. If they get a Rax but trade their team, they're quite happy with it. But that situation, now they're gonna try again without Aegis, because they know they don't have room to like play this game out. It's only gonna get harder. They're about as strong as they're ever gonna be in relative like right now.
Alright.
So they just need to not have that happen again. They already have Necrobugs out, but like their backline.
Oh, hot dance up there, another 4-person back wall, a big crush follow-up. Everybody from Horde is going down. Hork is gonna die as well. Skill, are they gonna be able to kill him off? Afterlife very low, but everybody is going down from Horde. Excalibur controlled as well. 5-man wipe. Friends take another, and oh my God, what the hell? How do you just let that happen twice?
They got their axe, so I don't know if you're happy trading 2 wipes for racks, especially one with an Aegis, but considering they were dead as all hell anyway, they were probably quite happy they managed to get the racks when they get 4-man walled again. Because like the way these fights are getting initiated is Slark is walking in through vision, and then they kind of try and punish that, and maybe they forget there's a blink in the game or there's a Darkseer, and they all show. Slark's doing a really good job of like providing the vision for the Darkseer to go every time. And if they don't have that vision, which is kind of like Horde's game plan, because they have the Necrobook so they can de-ward all the vision, etc. They have the Hawks, so if there's not smoke, they should have vision advantage, but the Slark's just providing them normal vision by walking in, not a care in the world.
Just look at the
the
swing as well. I mean, it was at about 5,000. Now we're down to almost 7,500 lead into their favor. And this is the point that we were talking about. You're basically running a 2-core lineup here, and how are you going to stop it? Aloha Dance just going to jump in onto Pablo again. A vacuum wall back onto 3, but actually it wasn't the wall drop, excuse me. They are going to continue to hit onto the Huskar, bringing him low. The wall finally does go out, and Pablo is already down in the midst of this. Timber Chain a little bit off the mark, but it doesn't even matter. They're so big and tanky at this point. They lose their Slardar, but they take down the Huskar and that root and the Oracle. They're going to push back again with the Bear, getting the stun onto 2. No Fear stole away with False Promise, but it is not going to amount to a whole heck of a lot. He ends up dying in the end. But still, this is showing Friends incredibly confident with their play at this point.
Yeah, they're in a position now where they can dictate the flow of the game a lot easier. And they know there's no Necrobook now, and they're fighting under a ward, so they can just go again.
Another 3-person vacuum. There's no follow-up, but it just looks so pretty every time. Pablo is invis for the moment. Yoku going through. Oh, did Aloha Dance go a bit too far? He ends up paying for it. Now Yoku continuing to control.
At least they thought they could.
He's still surviving through this. He's got another Timber Chain that comes out. Oh, good stun. Ake keeping his buddies alive. That probably would have been the death of Pablo, but now Yoku getting life broke by the Huskar, continuing the chase. Wants to go through everybody. He doesn't find the kill. Excalibur alive on 92 HP. Oh, man. And you can see how close they are to just getting these team wipes again, but they need everybody.
Alright, small counter first, small counter. Sorry. Friends are just making the game interesting, you know?
Oh my god.
And now Roche is going to be the big turning point. Because it's Friends' game to lose at this point. Horde like crashed their head against the buildings, they've lost a ginormous part of their advantage, and their heroes only really get weaker in comparison at this stage. They can still go later, but Friends' lineup is much more suited towards that.
And I mean,
so they'd much rather end the game like now.
And this is the time as well. You've got a Huskar DD online, so he's dealing a ton of damage, but it's feeling very scary at this point.
No lane pressure either. Like all the lanes are pushing into Friends right now, so if Horde were gonna take Roche, it's like.
Well, here's the smoke.
But if they smoke it to the shrine, like bad things can happen.
They should be aware of this though. It looks like they're just smoking to see if they can catch somebody from Friends as they are thinking about heading out.
Oh, they're gonna see Rubik.
Yeah, they did lose that.
But that's not.
He still has a TP.
Yeah, Rubik's not an important.
He can get there. Starting to hit away at this. You need to make some type of move, Friends. This is going to drop so quickly, and well, Afterlife is there, does have Blink available, wall as well. They're looking for their opening and trying to guard the way at the front and center. This is going to be Roche down. They end up losing it away, and Horde take it. Oh, Yoku? Are they going to take this fight? They drop a Sentry Ward, spot out Aloha Dance. They got the roar on him. There's the back wall onto 2. It actually doesn't really connect that well. Gork is still there as well, and they are not able to bring anybody down as of yet. BKB already popped by Aloha Dance. They're able to steal away Inner Vitality with the Rubik. It's not really doing a ton, though, and the Bear is down low, but another set of Suns comes out and controls Aloha Dance. A whole lot of kerfuffle, but nothing.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Pretty good for Horde overall, though. Sorry, for Friends, sorry.
Radiant's
In like,
top tower is under attack.
they don't lose the fight there. Unfortunately, they like use a few BKBs, but a BKB.
And I guess now, if you're looking at this, you're going to have the Sanjin, or rather, not the Sanjin Yasha, excuse me, the Heaven's Halberd up soon for the Huskar. Is that a big turning point? Like, or do you think that like they hit another timing where they're going to be able to keep the pressure on Friends?
This is like, I'd say their backup window. where they have AC, and it looks like they want to use a few more minutes of stages to farm and maybe build like a Mask of Madness on the Bear. As you said, the Halberd on Huskar. Maybe like a Vlad's could also get thrown into this at some point. Like, E-Skills is still like halfway towards one, but yeah, this is like they might as well go now.
Oh, they're actually smoked up again and heading over towards the shrine. Afterlife breaks the smoke. He gets roared, is in a lot of trouble. Still has the Greaves, but the Inner Vitality keeping him alive, not alive enough. Tier 2 tower is going to fall, and it might be shrines up on the menu after that.
With Darkseid dead, I think you ignore the shrines and you try and force a buyback slash.
He doesn't have buyback, actually. No Darkseer. This is a problem.
He has a hood.
Off the back of the Afterlife plays is how they've been able to hold it before, and Yoku's starting to get the stacks of the Burning Spears up on top of him. The Crush going to connect. They have the amp damage as well if they want to throw it on. Don't actually get it. They instead put it onto the Bear. Yoku's still taking a lot of damage. He gets controlled. He's going down. Does have buyback. They're going to need that if they want to hold this set of barracks, but at this point, it's a lost cause, and if they're not careful, they might lose more than this. Aloha tries to go in on him. Oh, the Glimmer Cape. They didn't have reveal. They dropped a sentry, but all right, they had one down.
Okay. Black has gem.
All right, fair enough. Still not doing enough damage. But
No, they just like they need that back wall. Like, that is the crux of them winning every team fight. Sorry, it's not just the wall. It's like also the double stuns and then the nukes, and every fight they've won, it was like 5 heroes, 4 heroes. That's how bigger impact his Darkseer was having, and then he gets picked off in a really unfortunate spot. And now 2 racks down, Asia's still in play. They have a lot of money to spend if they want. Like, Excalibur managed to finish his Mask of Madness, and he's got 2k gold on top of that, so he goes for Asha.
Thanks for that.
There's nearly a BKB on Huskar, and then Beastmaster bought something. Yeah, he bought Vlad's.
yeah.
There's even Atos now on Pablo, so this is like the amalgamation of all their farm put into one window.
Well, and it's also particularly great against everything that Friends has thrown their way. Like, they don't have the MKB online. Obviously, Silver Edge, it's going to hit no matter what on the first strike onto Huskar, and then you break the passive, but every subsequent one, I mean, they need to rely on somebody else to get that HP down. He's at 2,600 HP, has lifesteal just inherently as part of his kit because that's a thing. Like, this is tough.
Yep, and considering that Friend's best way of taking this fight has already happened 2 or 3 times, Horde are hopefully aware of how they lose this fight. So they just need to play around that vacuum. And there's multiple ways of doing it. I think the best way is just having the Bear somewhere near Slardar. Because it doesn't matter if you get vacuum. It matters if you get crushed. So if you can cancel his blink like they did in the mid lane with the Bear, then he can't go. And I think Friends are doing the right thing here, where they try and fight outside the base, because it gives Horde less time to set up.
Oh, Aegis actually expiring now as well. They have found one. Oh, a good roar. Times it out perfectly. The Crush does not hit onto anybody, and this is about as bad as it could have gone for Friends. Pablo low, but it doesn't matter. Alohadan's trying to make anything happen at all that he possibly can, but that's going to be a dead one. And GG, well played, ends up getting called as a little bit of a failure, but more importantly, a great roar by Beastmaster seals the deal. And Horde are going to move on into the next phase of these qualifiers. Friends are out.
That game, man. That game. It was actually so close to them being able to bring